Yunhai City, People's Hospital, ICU ward. Zhang Baikan stood outside the door holding the payment slip. Liashan has no master. Your dad's heart can't be dragged anymore. If you don't pay 200,000 for stent surgery, your life will be in danger at any time. The nurse's relentless words came into his ears, and Zhang Baikan's fingertips trembled slightly. 200,000, if placed in the past, would be nothing more than pocket money for him. But now it is a huge sum of money for him. Just a week ago, the Guanghui Group, which cooperated with his father Zhang Tiancheng, suddenly broke its contract. The 200 million yuan from the bank loan was in vain. The father was in a hurry and was seriously ill and was hospitalized. Now that the company's assets have been frozen by the bank, he can't even get a penny. Dad, you hold on, our father and mother have depended on each other these years, I will definitely not let you trouble. Zhang Baikan wiped away his tears, decided to borrow money, and at all costs would also raise his father's surgery fees. He first went to the old house of the Zhang family in Yunshan City, Lin City, and wanted to borrow money from his grandfather. He was blocked by the uncle. Zhang Baikan, it's useless to find your grandpa. The property of the Zhang family is now in my name, and I won't lend you a penny. Uncle Zhang Tianming said mercilessly. Hearing this, Zhang Baikan trembled with anger. The Zhang family is also a wealthy family in Yunshan City, with assets of more than 100 million yuan. Back then, his father gave up all his family property to his uncle Zhang Tianming and went to Yunhai to start his own business. However, now that his father is seriously ill, the uncle refuses to spend a little bit to save his own brother. Uncle, don't forget, you went to Australia to gamble a few years ago and lost tens of millions. It was my dad who lent you money to help you keep your company. At that time, my father was also very nervous, but he still lent it to his uncle, who has never mentioned repaying the money for so many years. Can that count as a loan? As a younger brother, he paid my debts for me, that's right. Zhang Tianming twitched at the corner of his mouth, with a shameless expression. Uncle, my dad should pay off your debts for you. Then you treat my dad, isn't it right? Zhang Baikan was not convinced. 1 yard is 1 yard. At that time, your dad was the big boss, and he had money. Now he has nothing. Even if I lend him, can he afford it? Zhang Baikan was stunned, but he didn't expect his uncle to say such a thing. Uncle, I can count on borrowing this money, I will work part-time job to pay it back for my dad. Thinking of his father's illness, Zhang Baikan's clenched fists loosened slightly. You pay him back. Leaving your dad, you are a trash. What are you paying for? The uncle spoke disdainfully. Zhang Baikan grew up carefree and spoiled. Therefore, in Zhang Tianming's eyes, Zhang Baikan, who was separated from his father, is no different from a stray dog on the street. Does not have the ability to make money at all. I won't tell you, I'm going to see Grandpa. Zhang Baikan blushed and couldn't help but want to rush in, but was thrown out by several servants. Falling on the avenue washed by rain. Uncle, my dad is your brother, so you can't save you. Zhang Baikan got up all muddy and couldn't help but roar. Brother! Zhang Tianming sneered, his eyes contemptuously, from today, I don't have this brother, you father and son, you two have been expelled from the Zhang family. You bastard! Zhang Baikan rushed up quickly, only to hit the closed door. Fuck! He slammed a fist against the door of the Zhang family, shaking all over. Tears fell drop by drop. He did not expect that his uncle could be so unfeeling. But at this time, he can only wipe away his tears and continue to raise money for his father. Then he went to find other relatives, but they were all turned away. Those relatives, who took the bonus given by their father on weekdays, were like strangers in an accident. Even talked badly at him. Without any choice, Zhang Baikan decided to go to his father's father, Uncle Wang. Uncle Wang's company was in a hurry, and his father tried his best to rescue him. Moreover, his father had entered into a marriage contract with Uncle Wang, and Uncle Wang was his future father-in-law. At the same time, he and Uncle Wang's youngest daughter, Wang Ziking, had already established a relationship in private. He believed that with the relationship between the two families, Uncle Wang would definitely help himself. Before he went to Wang's house, he called first and learned that Uncle Wang had gone on business. But Uncle Wang told him to go to Wang Ziking at home. When he came to Wang's house, Wang Ziking was having a party at home. Metal music surrounds the entire villa, and a group of second-generation swimsuits writhed around the pool. Some of them, Zhang Baikan also knows, are the second generation famous in the city. Zhang Baikan wanted to go directly to Wang Ziking. At this time, several sturdy second generations stopped him with their arms. Behind these second generations is a young man in beautiful clothes. Seeing that it was Zhang Baikan, the young man's eyes flashed with contempt, and the corners of his mouth rose slightly. "Brother, why are you here?" This person is no one else, but Zhang Baikan's cousin, Zhang Xianyuan. Zhang Xianyuan liked Wang Ziking since he was a child, even though Wang Ziking was already with Zhang Baikan, Zhang Xianyuan never gave up. For this reason, the two brothers were very unhappy. Even on some occasions, they often confronted each other. On the other side, Wang Ziking was sitting by the pool, wearing a light purple swimsuit, exposing her proud figure to the air. The white neck, flat lower abdomen, and long beautiful legs stretched into the water, looking from a distance, like a noble white swan. Wang Ziking glanced at Zhang Baikan, then turned her head. Her eyes were cold and ruthless, even with a trace of disgust and contempt. "It's as if I saw a toad on the side of the road." But Su Li, the best friend on the side, walked over wrapped in a towel. "Oh, this is not the second son, why are you here?" Su Li is strange. Zhang Baikan took a deep breath. "I'm here. Ziking doesn't seem to invite you to come, right?" Su Li said coldly, "You can get out of here." She had always been hostile to Zhang Baikan, because Zhang Baikan had spoken ill of her to Wang Ziking, saying that her private life was chaotic and that Wang Ziking stayed away from her, so she always held a grudge. Zhang Baikan frowned. "I'm here to find Ziking." "What qualifications do you have to find Ziking?" Su Li said coldly, "I heard that your father lost 200 million yuan in business, and your family's assets were frozen by the bank. Do you think you are the superior young master Zhang? You lowly poor people are no longer qualified to enter our circle again. You." Thump. I don't know who pushed it in secret. Zhang Baikan fell into the swimming pool, and instantly became a chicken. Zhang Xianyuan suddenly burst into laughter. "It turns out that this is how the falling water dog came. No, Zhang Baikan, you are not as good as a dog now." People in the circle are aware of the changes in Zhang Baikan's family. For the second generation of them, poor people without money are no different from dogs. Seeing Zhang Baikan's embarrassed appearance, the second generation present also leaned forward and backward with a smile. Ahem. Zhang Baikan struggled to get up from the edge of the pool, but was kicked into the pool again. Su Li's eyes were incredibly disgusting. "It's disgusting, I fell into a pile of in the pool, how can we get off in a while?" After Su Li finished speaking, she deliberately covered her mouth and nose with her hands, as if Zhang Baikan really smelled like shit. Zhang Baikan took a few sips of water and finally crawled out of the swimming pool, looking at Su Li with an angry look in his eyes. "It has nothing to do with you when I am here, don't go too far." "Ziking, I have something to do with you." Zhang Baikan gritted his teeth and raised his voice. As my girlfriend, seeing myself in such embarrassment, she was indifferent. And Wang Ziking still looked at the water surface quietly, deaf to Zhang Baikan's words. The wind blew, Zhang Baikan felt as cold as a popsicle. "Ziking, I'm talking to you." He kept his tone down as much as possible and said one more sentence. Wang Ziking still didn't respond, and didn't even look at him. It seems that Zhang Baikan now has no qualifications to talk to her. Zhang Baikan, have you seen it? I said, you are nothing now, you are a dog, do you think Ziking can talk to a dog? Seeing this scene, Zhang Xianyuan couldn't help but sneered, his eyes extremely happy. Zhang Xianyuan waved his hand provocatively, and a younger brother brought a gift box over. Ziking, today is your birthday, this is the new LV I gave you. Handmade crocodile leather, a knowledgeable person knows at a glance, worth hundreds of thousands. Thank you. Zhang Baikan said so much, Wang Ziking didn't reply a word. And Zhang Xianyuan gave a package. Wang Ziking immediately said thank you. Ziking, your birthday today. Zhang Baikan suddenly patted his forehead and seemed to remember. No wonder Wang Ziking was in this attitude from the time he walked in. These days he has been in the hospital to accompany his father, so he is not in the mood to think about other things, but ignores Ziking's birthday. Why, don't even remember my girlfriend's birthday? Su Li suddenly sneered, I think you have no money to forget it on purpose. Ziking, I'll go out and buy it for you now. No need. Wang Ziking finally spoke and interrupted Zhang Baikan. Glancing at Zhang Baikan, he said faintly, let's talk, what can I do? Zhang Baikan gritted his teeth and said, my dad needs money for surgery. What? You actually want to borrow money from Ziking? Su Li had a speechless expression. Ziking is celebrating her birthday, so you don't have to give gifts, and you still have the face to borrow money from Ziking. Su Li hugged her shoulder and said with contempt. Ziking, lend me some first, and I will definitely pay you back. Zhang Baikan's face was hot. After all, he grew up so old that he borrowed money from someone for the first time, and he borrowed money from his girlfriend. Zhang Xianyuan on the side sneered, Zhang Baikan, reach out to a woman to borrow money, can you do this kind of thing? Besides, even if I loan it to you, can you afford it? Everyone knows now that your father is done and owes a loan of tens of millions to the bank. What are you going to pay? Are you going to be a duck? Zhang Xianyuan suddenly ridiculed. Zhang Baikan clenched his fist fiercely. When he came to Wang's house and saw these people, he knew that he would be humiliated and laughed at it. But he only cared about Wang Ziking's attitude. And Wang Ziking never said a word for him from beginning to end. He was extremely disappointed. Ziking, my dad's situation is very dangerous now. It's in the face of Uncle Wang, help me. After saying this, Zhang Baikan's face was hot, since childhood, he had never been so humble. Besides, in front of Wang Ziking. Su Li curled her lips, what's the matter? If you are afraid that Ziking won't lend you money, you will use Uncle Wang to suppress Ziking? Are you still a man? What she said was obviously adding fuel and jealousy and provoking discord. Sure enough, Wang Ziking glanced at him with disgust, and the disappointed expression was written on her face. Ziking, I didn't mean that. You don't need to say anything. Wang Ziking turned back to the villa and took 200,000 banknotes. My dad called and asked me to prepare this. I can give it to you, but I want to make it clear to you. Starting today, we will cut it off. Your family has nothing. My Wang Ziking is dead, even if it makes the stray dogs on the street cheaper, I will never allow myself to marry a poor man. Wang Ziking raised his chin proudly, like a nobleman, looking down at the untouchables. Zhang Baikan looked at Wang Ziking incredulously, unable to believe that this was what Wang Ziking said. Take the money, get out. Wang Ziking threw the money directly on the ground. At this moment, Zhang Baikan's heart also fell to the ground. Can't wait to turn around and leave immediately. But thinking of his father's urgent need for the money, he couldn't help bending down and reaching out with a trembling hand. But at this moment, he didn't expect Zhang Xianyuan to grab the money one step in advance. Give me! Zhang Baikan roared and hurriedly rushed up, but was kicked to the ground by 2 second generations. Do you want it? Zhang Baikan was pressed to the ground by 2 people, and Zhang Xianyuan stomped Zhang Baikan's head with his feet. If the dog barks twice, I will give you the money. Call Wang. Haha. Everyone leaned forward and backward with laughter. Wang Ziking's eyes were full of contempt. Such a spineless man really didn't deserve to be her Wang Ziking's boyfriend. Sell louder. Zhang Xianyuan was even more proud, and the corners of his mouth curled up. Say, Wang, I'm a dog, Zhang Baikan. Wang, my Zhang Baikan is a dog. Zhang Baikan almost cried out. He needs money, he really needs this money. Zhang Baikan didn't know how to leave the Wang family. With full of humiliation and ridicule, he ran to the hospital with money. As long as you can save your father, everything is worth it. However, back at the hospital, a group of doctors and nurses were in a rush in the ward. 500 milligrams of adrenaline. Prepare for an electric shock. Add to 300 joules, do it again. D. As the electrocardiogram turned into a straight line on the screen, Zhang Baikan watched the doctor unplug his father's oxygen tube and slowly covered it with a white cloth. For an instant, my eyes were splitting. Sorry, we have done our best. How come? How can my dad die well? You must be afraid that I can't afford to give up treatment. It must be you. Zhang Baikan was crazy, clutching the doctor's collar severely. The money was borrowed and my father was gone. Zhang Baikan hated the sky and was mad, and tears were falling. Father's funeral. Zhang Baikan did not notify anyone. He has realized the scorching climate of the world and doesn't want to insult himself. Only on the day of his father's burial, a group of people suddenly came and pressed him on the tombstone. Xiao Yeshong, you are just like your father, you are a humble stuff. I originally wanted to torture him well, but he died like that. What a pity. A grim smile appeared on the man's face. Who are you? Zhang Baikan widened his eyes, and suddenly thought of something. He couldn't help blurting out, are you the Guanghui group? You lied to my father. Why do you do this? Zhang Baikan's eyes are splitting, and now his family is ruined and killed by Guanghui group. Why? The man sneered. Because your father Toad wants to eat swan meat, so he afflicted a woman who shouldn't be tainted, and gave birth to you, a wild species. To them, you are just a shame. Now, you should go down with your father too. A cruel smile appeared on the man's face, and with a big wave of his hand, several hands behind him swarmed up and put Zhang Baikan into the sack. Thump! In the darkness, Zhang Baikan felt himself sinking in the water. Consciousness gradually blurred. General, this kid has been in the water for too long, I'm afraid he won't be saved. Vaguely, a majestic voice came, since you have encountered it, take it home. Whether you can survive or not depends on his own good fortune. In the afterglow of the setting sun, a cruise ship tens of meters wide moved slowly along the coastline. What? He won't come down? After listening to the nanny, Wang Suo was stunned. This trash, dare to ignore his orders? But on second thoughts, people just came back, maybe it was really troublesome. It is really not appropriate to mention the divorce at this time, so let the family take a rest first. But Diao Yulan couldn't help it anymore, and her eyes opened up instantly. He is so brave, how dare he not listen to Shui Wu? No, let him come down immediately. Mom, he just came back, otherwise let him rest. Wang Suo tried to say, now Diao Yulan is alive and well, and she also knows that she just pretended to be. Why, Shui Wu, do you still have illusions about him? Mom, I didn't. I tell you, you must divorce him today. Diao Yulan's eyes reddened immediately. Originally, you and Ziking were your two daughters. Ziking, who has no conscience, has become a member of the Zhang family since she married and does not come back several times a year. And you married this trash again. When my friends were partying, they looked at the son-in-law of other people's house. They were prosperous and respectful, not to mention how jealous I was. I knew that, how nice I should have given birth to a son. Diao Yulan slapped her thighs and cried pretendingly. Wang Sui bit her lip tightly. It is not only his mother who is laughed at by others, even she is often pointed behind in the company. As the president of the company, she was married to a soldier who was a soldier, and she couldn't hold her head up in the entire Wang family. I blame myself for agreeing to my father's request at the time. But now my father's illness is cured, and she has no worries, just in time for Zhang Baikan to come back this time, she can divorce him. Okay, Mom, don't cry, I'll go up and talk to him personally, let's go to the head office now. Wang Sui was also helpless, and quickly got up from the sofa and went upstairs to find Zhang Baikan. You want to divorce me? At this moment, Zhang Baikan had just put on his clothes and his expression was a bit surprised. He didn't expect that he had just returned and asked for a divorce. In the evening, I will entrust the company's lawyer to draw up a divorce agreement. We can discuss what conditions we want, as long as you sign it. Wang Sui stared beautifully without any emotion. I will not agree to a divorce. In my Zhang Baikan's marriage column, there is no divorce, only widowed. Zhang Baikan straightened his collar and said with a serious face. You, what did you say? Wang Sui thought she had heard it wrong. I have served Zhang Baikan for 5 years. As a soldier, I will never allow any stains in my life. Don't even think about divorce. Divorce is impossible. He didn't want to be laughed at by his own soldiers and old leaders, besides, the marriage of the Wang family was the only legacy of his father. He will never fail his father's last wish. Zhang Baikan, I tell you, don't go too far. This is not something you can't leave, I can go to the court to sue you. Wang Sui's body trembled, but immediately seemed to think of something, and her face couldn't help but relax. I know, you are afraid that your life will not be guaranteed after divorce, right? I have a villa in Nanshan, and I will give you another 1,000,000. Even if you cannot find a job in the future, it will be enough for your life. Hehe, what you said is worthless in my eyes, Zhang Baikan, in short, I will not divorce. Zhang Baikan refused decisively and waved his hand, go out, I want to rest. Zhang Baikan, isn't this enough? You are too greedy. Wang Sui suddenly became angry. In her opinion, Zhang Baikan wanted more. Whatever you think. Zhang Baikan did not explain either. Okay, then you just wait for my lawyer's letter. Wang Sui gritted her teeth when she couldn't make sense, then turned and walked out. Zhang Baikan closed the door, sat up cross-legged on the bed, and adjusted his breath. Although he suffered a serious injury during the mission, he also encountered great opportunities. Let him get a mysterious fragment in a cave, which recorded an ancient heritage Xianqingju. Xianqingju did not know who created it, but it was so magical that Zhang Baikan, who was on the verge of death, stabilized his injury. At the same time, he got a secret from this fragment. The master of Xianqingju once refined a 9-life golden pill, which can not only heal the bones of life and death, and it can be completely reborn. But there are 9 pieces in total, and he has only got 1 piece now. To find the 9 lives, you must gather all the fragments. A few months ago, he had ordered people to search everywhere, but at this time there was nothing. But fortunately, Xianqingju was able to stabilize the injury, but he was not in a rush. When Zhang Baikan was adjusting his breath, Wang Sui returned to Siyun Company angrily. Sitting in the president's office, distraught. The Wang family is about to open a board of directors tonight. The 10 million business has not yet been settled. Now a difficult husband has been added to the family, I feel relieved to think about it. She is also a traditional woman, and the divorce is easy to talk about. As long as Zhang Baikan is able to think more straightforwardly, get along better, and be obedient to herself, she can also persist in the marriage with difficulty. But who thought he was such a thorn? Obviously it is a trash, but he is still so strong, what on earth does he make? Thinking of this, Wang Sui's eyes were red, and she felt very wronged. No, this marriage must be divorced. I have been delayed for 3 years, and I can't take it all my life. Wang Sui wiped away her tears, immediately connected to the inside line, and asked the lawyer from the legal department to come over and prepare to draft a divorce agreement. Call. It was getting late. Zhang Baikan let out a white breath and slowly opened his eyes. At this time, the phone rang suddenly. Monkey. Zhang Baikan was a little surprised. He didn't expect that it was Lu Ho, his old classmate, who called him. When he was in school, Lu Ho had the best relationship with him. Zhang Baikan did not break the contact between the two in the army. Brother Zhang, a classmate saw you from the airport today, and heard that you are back. Lu Ho asked cautiously, with some noisy noises on the other end of the phone, vaguely someone clinking glasses and someone shouting. Well, I came back today. Zhang Baikan did not hide it. Oh, just come back. Well, our classmates' reunion here, can you come over? Right now. Well, they heard that you came back, and they all want to see you. Lu Ho's tone was a little unnatural. Suddenly, there was noise on the other end of the phone. You let him come, let us see how young Master Zhang is doing, is he a general? Haha. People drive tanks now. Hehe, a junk who was expelled from his house, if he can drive a tank, I can drive an aircraft carrier. Ha 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 ha. Brother Zhang, wait for me, I'll go out and tell you. At the other end, Lu Ho hurriedly clutched the phone and ran outside. Brother Zhang, you still don't come. Lu Ho confronted the microphone again and sighed, to tell you the truth, I won't hide it from you. Li Luwei is a kid who has developed and is a director of a Hong Kong company. I have a small business waiting for him to sign. He said if you can't find you, he won't sign for me. Lu Ho was also a simple person, and he told Zhang Baikan the situation directly without procrastinating. Zhang Baikan couldn't help frowning, and a figure of crooked melons and jujubes appeared in his mind. Li Luwei. Back then, a poor boy in the class didn't even dare to say anything about inferiority, but he had a crush on a beautiful girl in the class. And this beautiful girl just likes Zhang Baikan, and she tells the story in person. The result was naturally rejected by Zhang Baikan, and his face was discouraged in public. Seeing that the goddess was humiliated, Li Luwei had the courage to find Zhang Baikan, but he was naturally stepped on by Zhang Baikan. The shame of the school days. Brother Zhang, I also know, Li Luwei came to you for what he wanted to do, don't come, the big deal, Lu Ho, I will start a new stove, and find the next house. Lu Ho knew very well that now Li Luwei became the director, and he had only one purpose in finding Zhang Baikan. Just to get back the face of the year. It's okay monkey, when did I, Zhang Baikan, be afraid of trouble? Didn't he want to find me? I will go now. Originally, Zhang Baikan would not attend this kind of gathering, but it was Lu Ho that he couldn't leave it alone. Lu Ho was very excited, and brother Zhang remained the same, still so powerful and domineering. Brother Xing Zhang, where are you? I will drive over to pick you up now. Lu Ho's tone was a bit agitated. After a few years, he missed Zhang Baikan. No, you tell me the address, I can just go there by myself. Zhang Baikan asked Lu Ho for the address, hung up, put on his coat and went out. The place Lu Ho said was a leisure club called Huaqian Yuxia. It's less than 1 kilometer from the Wang's villa, and it's just a short walk. The first floor of the clubhouse is a tea restaurant, and the KTV private room is upstairs. Even the cost of eating, taking, and playing a dragon would cost 1,000 or 800 yuan per capita, which is already a very high consumption in the entire Yunhai city. When Zhang Baikan came to the private room on the first floor, more than a dozen people were pushing cups and changing cups. Yo! Isn't this young Master Zhang? Hurry up, give me a seat. Seeing Zhang Baikan's arrival, Li Luwei hurriedly got up, and said without moving his buttocks. The others just glanced at Zhang Baikan, and they all looked indifferent. Only Lu Ho quickly got up from his seat. "Brother Zhang, sit here with me." But the seat is so big that Zhang Baikan can't sit with Lu Ho. Finally, the waiter changed 2 small stools, and the 2 of them reluctantly sat down. "Bei Chen, I heard that you went to the army. How have you been in the army these past few years?" Li Luwei asked indifferently, then opened a box of 9-5 Supreme and passed them down one by one. The eyes of other classmates also focused on Zhang Baikan. Back then, Zhang Baikan was the second young master Zhang, and everyone is curious now. How is he now? 5 years later, I will still trample you on your feet. A word, nailed to Li Luwei's heart fiercely. It was not only nailed in Li Luwei's heart, but also in the hearts of everyone present. Let the people present dare not even breathe. Zhang Baikan's aura is too strong, stronger than that of Zhang Yi, our young master, and he has a terrifying, iron-blooded murderous aura. It's just that it was well hidden before, and it didn't reveal it to them. "Baikan, forget it, they're all classmates, there's nothing wrong with them." "Yes, Baikan," Luwei knew it was wrong, "let him go." At this time, the students softened their words and interceded for Li Luwei. Zhang Baikan snorted, and then Li Luwei let go. Li Luwei stood up, but his face was still a little frightened. He was really frightened just now, as if being stared at by a wild beast. "Lu Ho, let's go." The party was like this, it didn't make sense to stay. Zhang Baikan took Lu Ho directly. Everyone was left looking at each other. "Luwei, are you okay? Do you need to go to the hospital?" A girl asked with concern. "No need to." Li Luwei waved his hand. "Damn, isn't it just being a soldier for a few years, what's so arrogant? Isn't it a poor man? Pooh." It was not until Zhang Baikan left the private room that Li Luwei spit heavily. Zhang Xinran couldn't help but shook his head. He was such a big person, yet he used force? This kind of person is really worthless. At the other end, after Lu Ho and Zhang Baikan walked out of the clubhouse, they sat on the side of the road and started crying. They were all running for the 3rd time, and they were crying. "Okay, look at your interest, isn't it just for investment? I will find someone to sign the contract for you later." Zhang Baikan couldn't help but shook his head and said. Lu Ho was stunned, thinking that Zhang Baikan was joking. Zhang Baikan called Zhang Miao directly. "2 things. Zhang Baikan's words are still concise. 1. Tomorrow I will send my classmate Lu Ho to the company, and you will sign his contract. 2. Let me ask you something, is there a company with whom we have talked about cooperation recently? The director is called Li Luwei." "Good boss, yes, recently a company called Jingmao wants us to invest, and the person in charge is Li Luwei." Zhang Miao replied respectfully. "Good. From now on, immediately terminate the cooperation with Jingmao Company, that's it." Zhang Baikan spoke and hung up the phone. Lu Ho was stunned. "Brother Zhang, you..." Zhang Baikan patted Lu Ho on the shoulder. "Man, you can't shed tears anytime, let alone kneel down. Okay, go home. At Rongding tomorrow, someone will sign the contract for you." After Zhang Baikan finished speaking, he walked away on foot. Lu Ho didn't react for a while, just stared at Zhang Baikan's back. "I don't know if it is Zhang who drank too much or he drank too much. Brother Zhang actually asked him to sign a contract at Rongding tomorrow? That's the largest company in the industry. I must have heard it wrong." At this time, in the private room, Li Luwei had just taken care of the wound on his head and was about to fight another round with everyone. Suddenly the company called and saw that the number was actually called by Wang Ming's, the owner of the Hong Kong headquarters, and he was shocked. Hurriedly asked everyone to answer the phone quietly. "Hey? Chairman, why did you call in person?" Li Luwei said cautiously. "What the hell, you smash the street boy. Just because of your trash, our Rongding list was lost. You said I would call you for BAA. Wang Ming snarled fiercely on the phone. What? Lost the list? How is this possible? They have clearly agreed to invest in us. Li Luwei suddenly broke into a cold sweat and said in a trembling tone. Then ask yourself, who is not good to offend, must offend the prosperous boss? You eat to get rid of it, I'll you up. Rongding is the stepping stone for economic and trade companies to open up the inland market. Its importance is unparalleled. Wang Ming's, who is in Hong Kong, can't wait to come over and break Li Luwei's head at this moment. I offended boss Rongding. Li Luwei was immediately confused. He was cautious when he was working. No matter where he dared to offend anyone, let alone the boss of Rongding. The only person who has offended recently is. Thinking of this, Li Luwei's eyes widened in disbelief. How can this be? Li Luwei, no matter what method you use, I will immediately obtain the understanding from Rongding. If the list becomes yellow, don't say that your promotion is ruined, you also roll up the bedroll and get me fucked. I'm so banned by the entire industry. Continue to growl on the phone. Yes, Chairman, I will go right now. Li Luwei hung up the phone, feeling that his back was already wet, his eyes still a little worried. Luwei, what's the matter? What happened? At this time, someone saw that the situation was wrong and asked quickly. It's gone. I have something to do today, let's go. Li Luwei didn't care what to say, and left the box quickly. He hurriedly came to the outside of the clubhouse and happened to see Lu Ho, who was about to take a taxi to leave. Monkey, have you seen Baikan? Li Luwei quickly stepped forward and stopped Lu Ho. How? Didn't have enough beer bottles in the box? Lu Ho sneered. Now that he has torn his face anyway, he is not afraid to offend Li Luwei. Where is it? Li Luwei gave a wry smile. The previous thing was that I was wrong. I confessed my mistake to you. I don't know. Baikan is so powerful now. He is already the behind-the-scenes boss of Rongding. I will face him to apologize for a while. You, what did you say? Lu Ho stood there in an instant, his head as if he was stunned. At this moment, he seemed to understand everything. Just now I thought that Brother Zhang was drunk too much. Now that Li Luwei said this, it was a bit truthful. After all three can't drink too much, right? Two people stopped the taxi, Lu Ho pointed the direction, the driver hurriedly chased it, and halfway through the road, he saw Zhang Baikan, who was going home. Thump. Brother Chen, I was wrong just now, please give me a chance, forgive me this time, don't revoke the cooperation with our company, otherwise, I have worked hard in the past few years, all in vain. Li Luwei directly knelt on the street, begging. He has no prestige now, and he regrets it. If he cannot be forgiven by Zhang Baikan, he will not only lose his job, but also be blocked by the entire industry. At that time, he can really only go to deliver food. Get up. Zhang Baikan frowned. No, if you don't promise me, I won't get up. As Li Luwei said, he kept flapping his mouth. Zhang Baikan sighed, it was a classmate, he was sincerely admitting his mistakes, and he couldn't do too much. Okay, I promised you, get up. Zhang Baikan waved his hand, and Li Luwei got up tremblingly. Brother Chen, otherwise, go back and drink some more? When I am going to pay you? Li Luwei asked cautiously. No, you go, besides, I don't want more people to know about my identity, do you understand? Zhang Baikan faintly exhorted. Understand. Li Luwei smiled awkwardly and left dingy. At this time, Lu Ho suddenly became a little bit cautious in the same place. After all, my brother is now the big boss, and the sense of distance naturally arises. Zhang Baikan smiled and patted him on the shoulder. Don't think too much, your brother Zhang is still your brother Zhang. Tears welled up in Lu Ho's eyes instantly, and he nodded fiercely, hey, brother Zhang. On the other side, Si-Yun Company. Wang Suo drafted a divorce agreement with the lawyer, and seeing that it was time for get off work, the secretary sent an email to the desk. This is Mr. Wang, this is delivered by a lady surnamed Zhang, saying that their boss asked her to give it to you. The secretary replied. Their boss? Wang Suo couldn't help frowning. Recently, there was a problem with the company. No company has cooperated with Si-Yun anymore. I don't know who sent this email. After letting the secretary go down, Wang Suo tore open the mail. Seeing that there was a check inside, her heart couldn't help but beat twice. Then when she saw the number above, a great surprise appeared on her face. 10 million. After a while, she was relieved. 10 million is not a huge amount for her, but it can alleviate her urgent needs. Otherwise, at the board of directors tonight, she really can't explain to the chairman. Calm down, she quickly checked the title of the check. It's a strange name, Zhang Miao. It should be the role of the company's finances. But who is the boss of the other party? The first thing she thought of was Chen Zhishao. Because Chen Zhishao just found her this morning. Did Rongding's investment come in so soon? Is it Chen Zhishao? Wang Suo felt warm. If Chen Zhishao really misappropriated the funds invested by Rongding to help her, there is no doubt that Chen Zhishao himself will face huge risks. If it is known to Rongding, it may be regarded as a transfer of assets, and may even be prosecuted for fraud. At that time, it will be ruined. I would rather bankrupt my family, would you help me too? Wang Suo sighed deeply, although she didn't have a cold with Chen Zhishao before. But at this moment, he couldn't help being a little moved. At this time, Assistant Yu Jian knocked on the door and walked in. Sister Suo, there is a call from the headquarters, and the chairman wants you to pass right away. Oh? Didn't the board of directors start at 8, and it's not 7 o'clock? Wang Suo was surprised. But immediately, she understood. 80% is for funding. Si-Yun, which she is in charge, and Sishan, which is in charge of her cousin Wang Su, are the two best companies in the Wang family. The chairman of the Wang Group, that is, his grandmother, is about to abdicate, and it has been announced that one of her and Wang Su will be selected to replace the chairman. Although her Si-Yun is better than Si-Tian, her grandmother prefers sons over daughters and usually prefers Wang Su. And at the moment when she called her back in advance, 80% wanted to embarrass her through funding. Okay, I see, I will pack up and go in a while. Wang Suo said with a sigh. In addition, Sister Suo, the chairman heard that the soldier is back, and asked you to take him over. Yu Jian pouted and said. What? Take him too? When Wang Suo heard these words, her headaches suddenly occurred. Serving as a soldier, why does Grandma want him to go to the board of directors? Do you want the Wang family to watch her jokes? The old lady's smile disappeared suddenly. The Wang family's development over the years has not kept up, because there are no powerful people in the family. She asked Zhang Baikan to come here just to see if Zhang Baikan was a part-time official. The result is still a waste, I feel very disappointed. Okay, you can sit aside, let's continue the board of directors. The old lady waved her hand impatiently, completely different from the attitude she had just now. Zhang Baikan didn't care, and sat aside alone. Calling everyone here today, there is another thing. I must have heard of it. Rongding recently announced a project for Zaihuchun Pavilion, which will open tenders for all underwear companies in Yunhai City tomorrow morning. Our two underwear brands, Wangjia Si-Yun and Sishan, are all eligible to participate. So I plan to let Suo and Xiaoxu participate in this tender at the same time. The old lady looked at Wang Suo and Wang Su separately, and continued, everyone knows that my age is also old, and I don't have enough energy, so I am going to abdicate and let the virtuous. And this time, which of the two of them can win the bid at Rongding's bidding meeting and get cooperation with Rongding? It will be an important condition for the old woman to choose an heir. Wow! Suddenly there was noisy below. The old lady's choice of heir is a major event related to the future rise and fall of the Wang family, and naturally everyone cares about it. Grandma, don't worry, grandson will definitely win the Rongding project this time. Wang Su said excitedly, his eyes coveted and looked at the pearwood chair under the old lady. He waited for this day for too long, dreaming that he wanted to sit in the seat where the old lady was sitting. Wang Su was also a little excited at first, but soon calmed down. Rongding's harsh conditions for choosing partners are well known throughout Yunhai. It is not a well-known large company or some upstart company that it cooperates with. Although Siyun and Sishan are relatively well known in the industry, they are still far from the first-tier brands. It is too difficult to win this project, and the possibility of winning the bid can be said to be very slim. If this project is completed, it will be our Wang Group's largest project this year. Our Wang family will also become the first T-line giants in Yunhai. At that time I will personally host a celebration banquet for you. The old lady said with a smile. I am waiting for your good news. When the old lady finished speaking, she stood up leaning on the table and waved her hand. Okay, let's end the meeting. After the banquet, mother and daughter Wang Swu and Zhang Baikan came to the parking lot. It's a shame, you rubbish, besides embarrassing us Swu, what use do you say? I told, tomorrow I will go to the Civil Affairs Bureau and divorce with Swu, I don't want to see you again. Diao Yulan was still brooding about what happened just now, and in front of so many faces of the Wang family, she felt ashamed of her face. Wang Swu pursed her mouth with a tangled expression, but in the end she sighed and said, otherwise, you should come to work at the company tomorrow. Originally, she wanted to pass the divorce agreement to Zhang Baikan after the board of directors was over. But remembering the scene where Zhang Baikan tried to teach Wang Su for her before, my heart suddenly softened again inexplicably. What? Shuiwu, you actually let him go to work in the company? Don't you divorce him? With an incredible expression on Diao Yulan's face, she immediately opened her eyes. No. Shuiwu, you have to listen to this. You can't be soft-hearted. You are now at the time of your career. You can't be dragged down by him for a lifetime. In Diao Yulan's eyes, even if her son-in-law is not a big or young man like Zhang Xianyuan, at least he should be a young handsome. And what is he Zhang Baikan? It's just a waste. Mom, you heard about the meeting just now. Tomorrow is Rongding's bidding meeting. I will try my best to deal with the bidding in these 2 days. How can I be in the mood to consider anything else? Wang Swu said helplessly. Right. Rongding's bidding is a major event. You can't delay the event because of this waste. Diao Yulan patted her head, then gave Zhang Baikan a glance before she was willing to give up. When you arrive at the company, start at the grassroots level first, and be a security guard first. Wang Swu said coldly to Zhang Baikan, but there is one thing, you can't say mine when you arrive at the company. When it comes to this, the word husband can't be said. His face was a little bit ashamed and angry. Let me see. Tomorrow I will go out to find a job. If I can't find it, I will go to you. Zhang Baikan casually dealt with it. How can he be a security guard in his capacity? Wang Swu frowned, thinking Zhang Baikan disliked the work of security guards. Well, it's up to you, nothing else, you can send my mother back first. Wang Swu said impatiently. No, he doesn't need to send it. I'll take a taxi myself. Diao Yulan yelled quickly, and then ran toward the side of the road Dinji. Wang Swu froze for a moment, but didn't say anything. He glanced at Zhang Baikan and went to the BMW 5 Series on the other end alone. Zhang Baikan returned to the villa. Although his aunt was not welcome at home, the nanny, as a servant, dare not refrain from cooking. After eating, Zhang Baikan went back to his room to rest. Diao Yulan downstairs seemed to want to vent her anger. She deliberately set the TV loudly, but it didn't affect him. After adjusting his breath overnight, Zhang Baikan felt refreshed. After breakfast, he went out and drove Santana directly to Rongding Company. Rongding Company, located on the riverside, belongs to a newly developed area, and is also the most promising business district in the entire Yunhai. The tens of meters high building straight into the sky, it can disregard the entire Yunhai with extraordinary style. What are you doing? Don't let in without a key card. When I drove to the door, I was stopped by a security guard. In fact, as long as the routine inquiries are fine, but the security guard deliberately embarrassed Zhang Baikan. After all, Rongding is one of the largest companies in Yunhai. The parking lot is full of luxury cars, and even the most expensive one starts at 100,000. Who will drive a Santana that is about to be scrapped to work or do business? Putting a Santana in is really detrimental to the corporate image. Otherwise, they will be criticized by the leader. Fortunately, Zhang Baikan called Zhang Miao directly, and after a while, a woman in professional attire appeared from inside. The appearance is clear and beautiful, the skin is white as snow, a tight-fitting casual suit reflects Miaoman's figure vividly, the inner shirt is a pink lace blouse, the black soft long hair falls down on the shoulders, the white earlobes are hung with ring earrings, demeanor of the deputy royal sister. Manager Zhang. The two security guards met and greeted them respectfully. Zhang Miao is the secretary of the president and also serves as the deputy manager of the investment department. His position in the company is not low. Did you see the president's car coming in just now? Zhang Miao looked around for a moment and couldn't help asking. President? The two security guards looked at each other and shook their heads together. I didn't see the president's car, only a broken Santana. Did he? At this time, Po Santana pressed the horn, and the three of them were immediately startled. Zhang Miao turned his head in annoyance, and saw a young man poking his head out of the car window. You are Zhang Miao, it's Zhang Baikan. Ah! You are, the president. Zhang Miao's anger disappeared in an instant, just a little dazed. She never expected that the president's car would be Santana. In addition, this new president is too young, right? It was completely beyond her previous imagination. But she quickly recovered, because the two had been on the phone before, and the president's voice would never go wrong. Just slightly stunned, he quickly revealed a sweet smile. President, welcome to Rongding. President? The two security guards were shocked. I haven't seen the president driving Santana. And still so young. The two security guards were scared after a while. Fortunately, they didn't make any rude actions just now, otherwise they would be laid off immediately. President, walk down this road, your parking space is in the innermost seat. One security guard hurriedly showed the way respectfully, and the other saluted straightly. Zhang Baikan nodded. Zhang Miao, go in first, and post a message to all the senior executives. I will hold a board meeting in half an hour. Good President, I will notify all departments immediately. Zhang Miao smiled and nodded, then turned around and sent a notice. The President's parking space is easy to find. It is the number 1 parking space. The surrounding area is full of cars. Only the first parking space has a distance of tens of square meters. Everyone at Rongding knows that this is the exclusive parking space for the President. Even if the other seats in the parking lot are full, no one dared to park in the number 1 parking space. But today, a Santana parked at number 1 parking spot justifiably. Who is this? Do you understand the rules? How dare you park your car in parking space number 1? I'm probably here for the interview, right? Don't understand the rules at all. Haha, you don't need an interview if you are caught by a security guard, you just get asked out. At this time, most of the people around came to work, and some came for interviews at Rongding, and I couldn't help laughing at this scene. But after Zhang Baikan stopped the car, there was a familiar voice not far away. Zhang Baikan. Zhang Baikan was taken aback for a moment, but he didn't expect to see Zhang Xinran here. But yesterday I heard Zhang Xinran say that her boyfriend is Rongding's personnel manager, so it's not surprising to be here. Zhang Baikan just nodded, and didn't say anything. But Zhang Xinran asked curiously, "Are you here for an interview too? But I heard my boyfriend say that they don't hire security anymore." Zhang Xinran said with a joking expression again. Rongding has an interview today. In Zhang Xinran's opinion, what can Zhang Baikan, a veteran, come to Rongding for? Most of them came to apply for security. Zhang Baikan frowned, unwilling to say anything to Zhang Xinran, and walked directly toward the building. Upon seeing this, Zhang Xinran quickly stepped on high heels and walked 2 steps quickly, and followed. "Did you not listen to them? The parking space you just parked is the parking space of the president. Since you are here for an interview, quickly remove your santana." She didn't kindly remind Zhang Baikan that she couldn't help laughing when she said santana. At the same time, she has secretly sent the message to the class's WeChat group. Early in the morning, the class group instantly became lively. "Haha, Nima did it too much, is he a shame? A person like this still went to Rongding for an interview. Who gave him the courage? What a embarrassment to our second class. 1 past 10, 10 past 100. Now the students know that Master Zhang drove Santana and parked in the parking space of President Rongding." This incident was enough to contract a day's laugh in the group. Zhang Baikan didn't know Zhang Xinran's actions at all, and the two came to the elevator one after another. "Bei Chen, you were too reckless yesterday. Fortunately, Li Dafang didn't pursue it, otherwise you are going to go to court. Don't be so impulsive in the future. Everyone is not a kid, and the set in school is no longer available." As the elevator went up, Zhang Xinran had no words to ask for words, seeming to be admonishing, but in fact he sneered. "Got it, thank you for your reminder." Zhang Baikan said blankly. "Oh, by the way, I will help you introduce my boyfriend when I see my boyfriend. Even if they don't hire security guards, maybe there are cleaning and other things." "No thanks. You don't need to be polite to me. My boyfriend is a personnel manager, and the supervisor is in charge of the interview. He even set my position directly." Zhang Xinran raised his hand to look at the nails he had just done, and said proudly. "Oh? Have you decided on the position before the interview?" Zhang Baikan asked suddenly at this time. "That's natural. It has been arranged. I will be a clerk in the personnel department, but I don't have to come to work every day. I only need to punch a card every day. After all, he is the supervisor and he pays me more than 10,000 yuan a month. Isn't it awesome?" Zhang Xinran deliberately showed a proud expression. "Awesome." Zhang Baikan nodded and complimented without a trace. "You can earn more than 10,000 yuan a month without going to work, which is really amazing." At this time, the elevator door opened, Zhang Xinran walked out 1 step ahead of time, and a handsome man in overalls greeted him quickly. "Husband. Xin, how did you come? I'm going to hold a board of directors this time, so I won't pass the interview. I'll take you to talk to the personnel side in a moment, you just need to go through the formalities." The man glanced at his watch and said eagerly. "Oh, okay, oh, yes, this is my classmate Zhang Baikan, do you still recruit cleaning? Otherwise you can help arrange the arrangements? 2 to 3,000 a month will do." Zhang Xinran quickly pointed to Zhang Baikan and said. "Cleaning?" Wang Lei glanced at Zhang Baikan, with a deep disdain in his eyes. "Well, let me ask when I look back." At this time, Zhang Baikan had already raised his foot and walked towards the meeting room. "Hey, what are you doing? Do you understand the rules? The interviewer is downstairs. Don't go around." Wang Lei was stunned, and immediately couldn't help shouting, but Zhang Baikan continued walking inside without looking back. "Your classmate has a brain disease, right?" Wang Lei was immediately angry, and by the way, he couldn't help but feel angry with Zhang Xinran. What are you doing? He is already mentally ill, and it is not mild. You do not know. When he came just now, he actually parked his broken Santana in the parking space of your president. Do you think it's silly? I'll go. You can introduce me to this kind of person? Then you just ignore him, silly. We Rongding cleaning will not use such a fool. Wang Lei couldn't help but cursed. At this time, Zhang Baikan hadn't gone far, so he could hear it clearly. But just 2 ants, it's not worth looking back. President. After 2 corridors, Zhang Miao was already waiting at the door of the meeting room. Under Zhang Miao's guidance, Zhang Baikan walked directly into the meeting room. All of you present here are senior managers above the Rongding manager level. Seeing the new bosses get up one after another, I feel a little worried. After all, once the emperor and the courtier left a bad impression on the new boss, it would be bad. Sit down. 5 minutes later, everyone arrived. Wang Lei, the last personnel manager to arrange an interview, also hurried over. Wang Lei lowered his head to his seat and couldn't help but look up. In the front swivel chair, a young man sat with his back facing him, facing the French window. It must be the new boss. Looks very young from the background. Wang Lei was secretly happy. After all, young people should communicate well, which is good for him. President, everyone is here, our meeting can start. Zhang Miao stood aside and said respectfully. The young man then slowly turned around, with a majestic face, which happened to be facing Wang Lei, who was in the last position. With a sound of awe, Wang Lei sat on the ground, almost peeing his pants in fright. Everyone was stunned for a moment. They didn't know what happened to Wang Lei. They were so scared when they saw the new boss. Wang Lei dripped in cold sweat, but Zhang Baikan was the president. Just now, he even scolded the president for silly and stupid, wondering if the president had heard it. For a while, his heart couldn't help but hang up. I give you a chance to confess your mistake. Zhang Baikan smiled slightly and looked very approachable. I shouldn't scold you, President, I know I was wrong. Wang Lei was about to cry. No, it's not this, you think about it again. Zhang Baikan shook his head and reminded him again. Wang Lei was stunned for a moment, and suddenly showed a confused look. He didn't know where he had offended the new boss except for the incident just now. Since I can't remember it, let me tell it for you. Zhang Baikan shook his head and said directly, you want to arrange your own girlfriend to eat free salary under your hand, right? Wow! The whole meeting room boiled instantly. This Wang Lei, so brave enough to let his girlfriend come to Rongding for free payment? You know, this matter is much more serious than scolding the president. Maybe it will be a lawsuit. Wang Lei only felt his head buzzing, and he got up quickly at a loss. President, listen to me to explain. Don't explain to me, come back and explain to the company's legal affairs, get out. Zhang Baikan waved his hand, and the 2 staff members directly kicked Wang Lei out. In addition, by the way, let the finance check whether he has any record of embezzling the total funds. Zhang Baikan ordered Zhang Miao next to him. Okay, President, I will have someone to check immediately. Zhang Miao nodded quickly. Taking this opportunity, Zhang Baikan looked around and said coldly, my company doesn't raise moths, I hope everyone will take warning. Everyone looked at each other, all trembling. I originally thought that the new boss was so young, and most of them were the rich second generation who came out for experience. But Guan, the new boss, acted vigorously and resolutely. Raising hands and feet is full of personal charm, and can't help being convinced. For the board of directors this time, Zhang Baikan just got to know his people, and the other thing is about the tender of the Xiaochange project. After all, the 2 companies of the Wang family are participating in the bidding this time, and my wife is coming to bid, so I have to ask. On the other end, Lu Ho also came to the Rongding building with the contract as agreed, just in time to catch up with Zhang Xinran, who was about to leave after completing the entry procedures. Lu Ho, what are you doing in Rongding? Zhang Xinran couldn't help frowning. Oh, Xinran, you are here. I'm here to sign a contract with brother Zhang. Lu Ho smiled and said, if he hadn't seen Li Luwei kneeling with his own eyes yesterday, he would feel like a dream. Look for Zhang Baikan to sign a contract. Zhang Xinran was a little confused when he heard him say this, and immediately couldn't help but laugh. You wouldn't drink too much yesterday and didn't wake up at the bar. People like him don't even want to do cleaning, so he can still sign a contract for you. I didn't drink too much, what I said is true. Brother Zhang is now. Isn't Mr. Lu? Mr. Zhang asked me to wait for you to sign the contract, please come with me. At this time, Zhang Mia rushed over, but the boss personally explained this matter yesterday, and the time was also arranged yesterday. Good, good. Lu Ho happily followed to sign the contract. Now it's Zhang Xinran's turn to be dumbfounded. What's the situation? President Zhang? Zhang Baikan? No, this is impossible. Zhang Xinran shook his head vigorously in place. I felt that I must have been bad at hearing, or that the Rongding executives had other surnames Zhang. Zhang Xinran. At this moment, an angry voice came. I saw my boyfriend Wang Lei walked out of the building with a storage box. Husband, you have finished the meeting, hey, you have so many things to pop. Before he finished speaking, Wang Lei's slap had fallen, and he roared, the stinky watch is all because of you. I have no job with an annual salary of hundreds of thousands. I have to wait for the lawsuit. You are just a broom. Star.